Arise, minions, and batten down the hatches as we leave behind the safety of the Humblewood to check in with the crew of Dark Fortunes.
Hello, I'm Rory, aka Final Gambit, and I am playing Silence Furuiken, Level 2 Mapok Warlock.
Hi, I'm Mike, and I'm playing Mimir Elderbrand, the Level 2 Corvum Bard.
Hi, I'm V Muse, and I'm playing Sionnach MacTyre, Level 2 Vulpin Fighter.
Hi, I'm McLokin. I'm playing Auryn, the Level 2 Servant Barbarian.
Hi, my name is Johnny. I'm the Dungeon Master. Welcome to the Dark Fortunes podcast.
Imagine that you're sitting down to play your favorite 5th edition fantasy RPG, and you think to yourself, man, I really wish there were just more. More monsters, more magic items, more subclasses, more spells, more of everything. Well, look no further than Kobold Press. Kobold Press is my first stop when I'm looking to add a little spice to my 5e games. The Kobold Press store offers a full line of 5th edition titles from the Tome of Beasts to the Guide to Game Design, plus hundreds of adventures, map packs, and so much more. And as always, these 5e titles are available in both print and PDF, or in a few money-saving bundles. Not to mention virtual tabletop editions for both Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds. And orders typically ship within 24 hours while supplies last. You can find out more at koboldpress.com. And while you're at it, let them know that Dark Fortunes and the Don't Split the Podcast Network sent you. Happy gaming.
Previously on Dark Fortunes. The crew of the Fool's Errand awoke to a new dawn, ready to receive the newest crew members. With Dolan taking his place as first mate, the crew was ready to make their way for their new destination, Puerto Labaya, in the Kingdom of Den.
The tide is beginning to take the Fool's Errand slowly out as the sails begin to catch the wind a little bit. Meridian being on the south side of the island, or the little port village on the south side of the island, the wind catches the sails and begins to take it out with some speed into deeper waters. As the ship is being sort of pulled out, both by the tide and the wind, who's at the helm?
That would be Sionnach.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm that. The pull on the rudder, there's a little bit of like a tug going on as the tide is still sort of catching, and there's a little bit of some undercurrents going on as the ship is being pulled out. But as you get farther and farther out, you can see that you're clear to be able to begin to sort of stir, to steer and turn towards your heading going north. As you begin to kind of make that sort of that slow shift, Dolan kind of stands up next to you, kind of comes up and says, "Shall we begin tacking?"
Yes, let's get going. The sooner the better.
All right. I'll get the crew started, and then if you'd like to take a moment, I will take over for you. It seems that both Milo and Auryn pick up things very quickly, although I'm not sure how much Auryn will retain. So I would suggest that we do repeated drills with him as much as possible to build muscle memory.
Considering his background, that's honestly the best approach.
All right.
He's used to training.
I'm definitely curious to hear the boy's story then. Captain, we'll get started then. And he moves off and begins to yell, the various jobs that need to be, sort of filled to start tacking back and forth, moving forward into the wind as you head into the wind going north. As the boat sort of crests around, what is the western side of the island, that would be the eastern side of the island as you guys are heading around and moving towards north. You hear more gulls just sort of like moving in, kind of flying around sort of the various sort of fishing boats as the fishermen are just kind of, hauling in their catch and, continuing to cast out, throwing their nets. But you also, as you're kind of taking this all in, you see more carrier pigeons, more messenger birds flying north, flying past Meridian.
Well, damn. This could get interesting. And she'll hook a loop. Is it at the point where she could hook a loop around the wheel?
To a point for now, right? But with tacking, you have to sort of like, it's like you're catching, gulps of wind as you kind of move back and forth. So,
maneuvering mode.
Yes.
Okay, instead of doing that, she'd look from a mirror. Mimsy,
Yes, dear?
get over here.
He, looks around. Says, yes, Captain. And then walks up the stairs.
She'll just do a very sarcastic, fangy grin.
What can I do for you, my dear?
Look up.
Oh, the birds. I've seen them.
Yes.
Is this not normal at the bay?
To this extent, not exactly.
What does it mean?
Chances are word might be getting out about us.
About us? What have we done?
Oh, we're absolute saints, darling, I know.
I'm the best pirate at sea.
You're already trying to throw that reputation around.
It's a matter of time.
You've been on the ship, what, 2 days?
It's been a hard 2 days of piracy.
Oh, dear.
He, a clawed hand kind of goes down to the hilt, and you see the ruby kind of glinting in the sun. He says, "You killed a man."
I did, but he
I
chose
was
it.
there. No. Tomato, tomato.
No, it's very different.
It's all who tells the tale.
Well, my tale is I gave him a fighting chance.
Well, I didn't write that part of the song, so...
Of course not.
No one cares about the fine details. Just that you slew the Dirk.
Yes, I slew the Dirk. Isn't it a wonderful reputation to have?
It is. He was a master mercenary, or so I'm told to believe. I don't...
No chance that
Actually.
you could, maybe, by any means, sidetrack one of those things up there.
One of the birds?
Yes, one of the birds.
What do I look like?
A bird.
I'll have you know, that's not how this works. I don't have any way to get the birds down here. That doesn't even make any sense.
Don't you have a way to get up there?
To the birds?
Yes.
No.
Oh, what a shame.
I can't fly. Do you think I'd be on a ship if I could fly like this?
No,
I
but I'm
can-
hoping that you might
I
have...
can gracefully glide.
I'd love to see that someday, but no, I'm actually just trying to see if you might know of a way or a means where we could intercept one of these ahead of time, considering your keen profession.
Oh, yes. Hold on. I have something for this. And he leans back and cups two hands around his beak and shouts, "Silence!" up to the crow's nest. Silence!
Captain, I think someone's out by sea.
Silence! Down here!
Oh, sorry, Captain. That was
It's
Mimir.
Mimir.
Silence, if you could. Shoot down a bird.
Has this bird offended me in any way?
It is carrying missives that might contain lies about our captain here.
Well, that is most grievous. I can probably do something about that, yes?
It doesn't need to be alive.
Okay. Near my stuff, Mimir, could you get something for me? It looks like a large, I don't know, staff, but it's circular and has a handle to it. You saw me messing with it once. I'm talking about my musket.
I guess I can. And he starts to head downstairs to get it. And he rummages around, finds, this is a hefty. What is this? I need to explore this later. And walks back upstairs to the bottom of the mast and just stands there. And
Why are we killing the birds?
they're carrying missives, letters of some importance that might say bad things about us, like the fact that we stole the champion of the brothers.
Silence will make his way down the rigging, face first, like a squirrel, skittering down a tree trunk, just down the rigging, because he's got skunk claws that it makes a lot of sense to me. So he skitters down there, grabs the gun, turns around, starts going back up. Did he get the powder that comes along with it? Or
Whatever you had bundled, you would have grabbed. Yeah.
I'll have it with it. And then I'll get up top there, and I will begin trying to assess how to utilize this musket and try and shoot down one of these birds. If not, I will resort to Eldritch Blasts.
Just shoot an Eldritch Blast out of the gun.
Give me some sort of roll that you think applies here. Now, there's a couple of things that could be. I will take whichever you believe is your highest roll that you could do here. It might be an investigation roll. It might be an insight roll. Hell, it might even be a straight up intelligence roll.
Probably go with investigation.
Okay. Are you not proficient in any of those?
I am both proficient in Arcana and Investigation.
This is definitely not Arcana.
Okay.
I mean, this is a mechanical implement. You could consider it definitely something that, is necessarily magical to you. And you could also potentially ask the voice inside your head.
Well, that's not an option. I don't want reliance on that. Being a Mopok. No. Okay, never mind. All right, we're just going to do the investigation.
Well, no. Make your point about the Mopok.
Well, being a Mephididae, which is a part of the Mopok, I gave up the racial trait that allows me to be good at tinkering in order to squirt noxious chemicals at people.
Sure.
So it doesn't technically apply anymore as a Mopok, as descended from Mopok, but I will, I'll just go with an investigation. We'll make this happen. I believe in the dice.
Okay.
12 plus 3, 15.
Talk to me about how silence starts to make this happen. What does this look like?
When Luke Skywalker was first, when he first got his lightsaber from Obi-Wan, and he's like looking down the barrel of it, where you're just like, don't do that, Luke. You could die just this instant. Like, he's going to look down the barrel and be like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where I put this powder in. And then I need to put in a ball in order to fire it upon. It's like a bow and arrow, except instead of using my muscles, it uses combustion. It's just kind of like understanding the way these sorts of things work. Descended from Mopok and how to tinker. Yeah, I kind of get this. I understand projectiles. I shoot them out of a sword. Why can't I shoot them out of a stick?
All right. I'd like you to make me a ranged attack.
Oh, okay. Is this dexterity based?
It is.
Okay, cool. Would you say I am proficient in this weapon?
I would say that you are doing this at disadvantage, but I'm not going to do that for you because you rolled so well on that first roll.
Okay.
So I would say just go ahead and roll a straight dex roll, or straight ranged attack roll.
Would I get my proficiency bonus as a weapon I'm proficient with?
Absolutely not.
That's fair. Okay.
You are definitely going to have to train before that comes into play.
That sounds about right. No, that one fell into a drawer, so I'm going to roll a different dice now, I guess. 15 plus 2, 17. Haha.
Narrate this shot for us, especially once the shot, like the actual shot fires, and we hear the musket go off.
So, in order to get the best view, I imagine that Silence will put the butt of the musket like on his chest, like on his sternum, not anticipating what's going to happen once he fires. But that's the best way to get the best sighting, as you would do with a bow. So you're like resting the very bottom part of the butt of this musket, like where his sternum meets the clavicle inside that little divot. And he like starts thinking like, okay, with a bow and arrow I have to trail just a little bit ahead, and then we'll be like, okay, holds his breath. And
are you wearing your armor?
Not enough to stop me from choking myself on recoil.
Give me a Constitution save.
Okay. 6 plus. I do have a modifier of 4, so that does put me at 10. But still, I would like to think, bang! It's kind of like what's happening here.
You're going to take a point of damage as it just kind of like comes back and just kind of like bruises you really bad. Right?
I deserve that. That's fair.
It's a little painful, but the sort of the sharp report of this thing just kind of goes off and your ears are ringing a little bit. And as they're ringing, you hear the,
oh, I do like the sound of that. That's lovely. What is that?
It's a din. It's a loud noise. You would like it. Now let me be.
That's beautiful.
and for the rest of you, what you hear is that loud shot. And if you're looking up at the birds, one poofs as a burst of feathers kind of, just appears as the rest of the flock just sort of like spreads out. But you can see that there is a body sort of falling from the sky. About a couple 100 feet.
Okay. Auryn would look at that and he would see Thundercade. Because he heard thunder. And he approves of this weapon. And so 100 feet in front of the ship.
Couple 100 feet in front of the ship as it's gently, it's like falling, but it's like, it's kind of wavering just a little bit because there's enough feathers that are catching the breeze, they're catching the wind, that it's just like, it's not like a straight dead drop kind of a thing, but it is falling relatively fast. So, and it appears to be tumbling end over end.
How fast are we going?
I would say that you're probably going about half speed. The average speed of the sloop is, I believe, 6 miles an hour. And because you're having to tack into the wind, it's a little bit more difficult, having to tack back and forth. It's a lot of work to catch that sort of like, that draft.
How
of the
fast
wind. Can
someone swim per round? It's like half, right?
No, it should be listed for your race.
Can you swim?
I should be able to swim.
Would Auryn know how to swim?
He's about to find out.
Oh,
because
okay.
Auryn goes, Captain, I have it. And then jumps off the ship and dives in and begins going that way.
You hear Milo in the background go, Auryn, what are you doing? You can't even swim. And I'm going to need you to make me a dexterity roll.
Meanwhile, the whole time Mac she's standing there shaking her head and she's muttering, son of a bitch.
Can I roll an acrobatics?
This would be more of an athletics roll, if anything.
Okay, I'll do athletics. That's fine. That is a 14 plus 5 is 19.
Now, let's talk about this before I tell you what happens next.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, Auryn has never swam before. He probably doesn't remember his experience as a boy, maybe potentially playing in a river and swimming. Mm-hmm. Or does he?
This is more of a sink and swim moment. And whether his natural instincts kick in or not. And that's where I'm kind of considering. He hasn't swam in a very long time, and probably not in anything so deep. But he has done minor swimming, so it's probably very like daunting. And like when he dives in, he sees the vastness of the deep ocean, and has that really humbling moment that someone would first time seeing that, right? And that kind of also fear of feeling how small you are in comparison to how the ocean is spread out. He then would know that he knows that he can't breathe underwater. And then begins kind of like feeling that when he moves his arms, feeling that kind of motion, that it like propels him forward or backwards, depending on how he's doing it. And then begins to kind of doing that where he's like launching himself forward and like kicking his legs, his hooves in a motion where he's trying to swim faster than the ship.
Okay, so once you dive in and you find yourself, at first you're under the water, right? You come in and you come down and you're deep under the water. You probably dove down 10 or 15 feet based on the strength of this dive into it. And as you go down, you can see that there's like this vast shelf of where the island is. And there's like this drop off that you see that is the vastness of that deep below, right? And you can see that there's life there, and there's various fish and other things sort of moving around on that shelf that sort of centers around the island in what would be considered the shallows of the island. And as you're beginning to feel yourself kind of rise up, your last glimpse below is of some dark shape, very dark, like silhouette on the way that the sun is sort of filtering into the water. That you see this dark shape sort of, swimming its way, sort of, slow movement, sort of shimmering back and forth deep below, standing out darker than the dark that is down there, the way that it's silhouetted. And as you sort of come back up, you get a real sense of the grandeur of what's below you. And as you're kind of treading water there, the ship is beginning to kind of pass you by, tacking and making its way forward still. But you, as the back of the ship is about to kind of move, you finally get yourself sort of situated, and then you kick forward. And it's not coordinated in any way smooth, but you get a sense of it. And as you're kind of kicking forward, you're beginning to slowly keep your, up with the back of the ship. And then you feel your true power as it kind of like you get your coordination. And for a short time, you're able to keep up and push forward and just get to the sort of the carcass that has fallen in the water that's just kind of floating there. And there's blood beginning to kind of, sort of seep into the water itself. What are the rest of you doing as Auryn has done this?
I think the moment he screams, Mimir looks to Mac, and he like crosses both arms in a very "this is not my fault" kind of way, and says, "I did not expect that to happen."
Neither did I. And she's starting to unbuckle like her belt so that she can hand Mimir her swords, and she's taking off her jacket. And she's removing her hat. She's basically getting down to the basics so that when she dives in after Auryn, she can at least make sure that he can stay above water.
As she's taking this off, he looks over and says, Mac, my dear, you're the captain now.
Right. His life's in my hands.
I understand, but if you jump in the water and die, we don't have a captain anymore.
Right.
And he motions to the crew.
All right then. Rupert! Man overboard.
Ma'am. Oh, okay. And from the point where Rupert is doing the tacking, he's on one of the ropes. He kind of motions for Trey to come up and take over his position, and begins to start to look, start to pull things off, so that he's not weighted down, and he's only got his essentially his bottoms on, his pants on, and taking off his boots. As Doling sort of walks up and says, I don't know, we might be able to just throw him a rope. Look at the lad. And you can see that Auryn is slowly getting his coordination, and you can see the power and the grandeur of his physique, just powering him through this short burst of energy to keep him moving forward towards the carcass.
There's hope for him yet then.
Dolan, I don't know what a first mate does, or what anyone does here, really. I need the letter that bird was carrying. Can you shout at people until I have that?
Raises an eyebrow, looks back to Mac, looking for some sort of acknowledgement of approval or...
Say please, Mimir.
Mim sees the eyebrow raise and looks back at Sionnach, and he reaches up and like pats him on his shoulder. That's a good lad. Thank you so much. And he begins to walk down from the quarterdeck.
You don't have to do that. She'll shout out, she goes, I want the bird.
And Rupert, kind of realizing the situation, am I jumping in, or am I helping the lad get on board?
Help the lad get on board, but be ready to jump in just in case.
Aye, ma'am. And the gal's sort of physique kind of looks like it's kind of rocking back and forth a little bit as he grabs on a rope that is specifically designated for throwing over to catch for people overboard. And Auryn, you hear, "Aye, lad, catch this!" And this rope comes like thrown out towards you, and it's obvious there is a large sort of like loop to which you should like hold on or potentially like put around you.
Sorry, how far away am I from the bird?
You get up to the bird just about the time that the rope is you're being beckoned to actually catch the rope.
I am grabbing the bird, hooking my arm around the rope, and then putting my head underwater and looking down.
All right. Blood has begun to seep from the carcass, and it's quite a small carcass. It's about your average size, like city pigeon or whatever, or carrier pigeon, right? But enough blood is starting to seep in the water that you're starting to see things kind of like move and shift and move in your sort of general direction. A couple of things, 3 to be in fact. But they're so far off at this point, but they appear to be moving pretty quickly. But as you're kind of looking at this and watching as they get closer, and you can see sort of the blood trail sort of like dipping into the water a little bit, you hear from a call from above.
All right, lad, climb up. Start climbing. We'll pull you up.
Yeah, I start climbing up. Like I kind of propel myself out of the water a little bit and like just and like put one hand that was around the rope and then kind of start pulling myself up and then throwing the bird overboard and then hoisting.
For the rest of you, you see the carcass of this bird just sort of kind of dance and kind of roll over and come to a stop sort of just on the far side from where Auryn has thrown it up onto the ship, as you see Auryn just kind of pulling himself up, and Milo kind of walks up and says, "Whoa, Auryn, whoa, I didn't know you could swim. How did you know how to swim? What's going on? What did you do there? You can't swim. We never swim at the arena."
Either I learn or I don't.
That's really dangerous. And behind Milo walks Dolan and says, "That's quite a good trick, lad. I'm glad to see that you were able to do that, but don't do it again. That was very dangerous."
It was very calming down there.
The deeps hold many things.
There was big things swimming around.
Don't anger those big things, lad. And Dolan turns and looks back towards Mac and walks towards her and says, I'll take the helm, Captain. Go ahead. And he kind of reaches and grabs for the wheel.
Thank you, Dolan. I appreciate it.
Auryn, I think you did splendidly. And he reaches down and like flicks the bird over and takes the missive that it was carrying.
Around its one of its legs, just above the sort of the claw, you can see that there's a little container.
Yeah, he unties that and slides it off.
Okay, as you slide it off and you're able to kind of open it up, you see that there is a long sort of piece of script. You don't recognize the language.
Interesting. Mac?
Yes, Mimsy.
And he slides it out. Actually, you know what, Johnny, do I recognize this as a similar language to what's on the back of the map?
No.
Interesting. So it's not like pirate code.
No. And you haven't confirmed whether that is pirate code or not on the back of the map either.
I've assumed as much.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not like it's something that stands out as like archaic to you. It's just it's a language that you don't necessarily recognize.
Interesting. Because I recognize a lot of them.
Well, if you want, you can make a roll on this.
Sure. What kind of roll would you like?
What do you think applies here? I can see a couple of things, but let me hear what your thought is.
I mean, I guess investigation would probably be the best one.
Insight is another one, possibly.
Insight, I'll take an investigation. It's one higher.
All right, go for it.
8 plus 4, so 12.
There's something familiar about it. You can't quite place it. It's something that recently caught your attention before. Very fresh, sort of like in the last week of travel kind of a thing.
Huh.
But something that you don't necessarily just recognize this right off the cuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, he reads this and then flips it around and holds it out and says, Mac, I can't read this, and that is concerning.
Isn't it, though?
Can you?
And when Mac takes a look at it, you recognize it as the script of the Serpent Domain. Not the City of the Brother and the sort of the open world, but you recognize it having spent enough time along Razorbeak Bay and around the Gulf. You recognize it as the language, the written language of the Serpent Domain. It's not something necessarily you've ever been taught to read, though, although you might be able to infer depending upon how you roll.
It's a serpentine domain. Yeah, let me give it to me. Not a child.
Fine.
I can actually hold it for myself.
Well, then come here, then.
No, you come here.
Yes, Captain. And he walks over and hands it to her.
Okay.
I own the we'll figure this out. And he hands it over to her.
All right, so what do you want me to roll for this, then?
Give me an insight roll.
Insight.
Or an investigation roll or something that knowledge based that you feel applies here.
We'll do probably investigation. Makes the most sense.
Okay.
That's going to be a 13.
You can't make out every single word. What you can gain is based on your experience looking at documents that relate to shipping manifests, specifically from ships that you have participated in either taking or thieving from as in your days of piracy. Things like the word boat, things like the word stole. In fact, that phrase comes together, stole boat. Another phrase that seems a little out of place at first until you realize is the word that references Corvin. And then, one or two words stand out. One being conflict, and another that represents the symbol for the Kingdom of Den.
We all know that the worst part about playing a spellcaster in your favorite 5th edition fantasy RPG is having to write down all the intricate details of every spell in your notebook, or flipping to the back of the book every time you forget what a spell does. But what if I told you there was a better way? Lucky for you, there is. Our friends over at Hit Point Press are launching their new Kickstarter for the Deck of Many animated spells. This new Kickstarter will include waterproof, artistic renderings of spells levels 6 through 9, as well as a fully animated tarot deck for all your soothsaying needs. Not to mention, animated condition cards if we hit our stretch goals. So if you want to enhance your level of play at the table, head on over to rebrand.ly/DFP spells and pledge for your very own deck of animated spells. That's rebrand.ly/DFP spells. And be sure to tell them Dark Fortunes Podcast sent you. And as always, happy gaming.
All right, can't read the whole thing, but it's interesting. Let's put it that way.
Well, do tell.
Well, stole boat is a lovely little phrase right here.
We stole a boat.
Yes, we did. And something about a corvin.
Well, I'm a corvin.
Yes, you are. Conflict.
Well, that's a common word, I assume, with pirates.
Yes, we also seem to have left one in our wake.
Oh, that's their problem.
And Kingdom of Den.
Oh, that's where we're going.
It is.
Great.
Is it?
I don't know.
Think about it.
How do you secretly land a boat?
Well, dear Mimir, I think we're going to have to find out.
Like, I do land things. Usually not even secret land things.
Yes,
I don't know how to land a boat secretly.
Well, we have the advantage of the fact that there's a whole new crew on this boat, and that we have changed the name of the boat.
Right. And how many identical sloops could there be?
Well, a sloop is a sloop.
There you go. So all of them are identical, I assume?
But a few of us are rather distinctive in appearance.
Oh, that Auryn.
Yes, and I'm not exactly one who blends either. And she motions to her white fur.
You do stick out. Also, Silence sticks out. I've never seen one of his kind before, especially here.
Now you're putting the pieces together.
You all stick out quite a lot.
We're going to need to figure out a way to disguise ourselves until we figure out what the hell is going on once we get into the Kingdom of Den.
Right.
Puerto La Bahia is going to get very interesting.
I'm sorry, the what?
It's where we're going.
Oh, okay. I didn't actually read the map. So, are they looking for us?
Quite possibly. Or they might be looking for another Corvin.
Let's hope.
Let's hope, but we aren't exactly flying under the radar, it feels like.
It sounds like we need to go shopping for new outfits.
Where do you plan to go shopping on a ship?
The Kingdom of Den. We get in, we go to the market, we buy new outfits, be less obvious.
Okay, meta moment. I'm assuming she's been to the Kingdom of Den before.
Absolutely. You've spent a number of adventures there.
Am I aware of, any situation in terms of it's well guarded, there are lookouts, that type of scenario?
Much like the City of the Brother, it has quite a large harbor. So there is so much traffic going in and out of there. It should be possible for you to sneak in and buy off or pay off the right people at the right time. The harbor master, anybody that is a ship dock, a dock worker of any kind, to be able to at least get to that particular point. Here's where it becomes a little challenging. What you do also know about the Kingdom of Den and that particular little city is that it is the capital where the Navy, the Den's Navy, also operates. So it is a little bit more challenging to kind of go by unnoticed because the Navy is definitely trained to deal with that. And you know that the Kingdom of Den has been working really hard to crack down on piracy. The pirate known as Bluebeak has been causing the Kingdom of Den quite a lot of trouble lately.
It's going to be a little bit of a juggling act, let's put it that way, to get in there.
I don't really juggle. So.
Didn't expect you to.
Good. Appreciate that.
If we can figure out a way to make ourselves a little less conspicuous, that would certainly help.
Do we have extra sails?
There's a few.
Of a different color, perhaps? Or a dye, or something?
I didn't check for color. I mean, usually it's standard white, but probably couldn't hurt to look a little deep in one of the storage bins.
I'll dig around to see if we can find something to change the color. If they're looking for a sloop with white sails, perhaps we're a sloop with red sails or blue sails or something ostentatious like a gold sail. That would be great.
Or, darker tones or something that, whatever. Just something to change the color. I see what you're saying. And
great. I'll look into that, and you do, I don't know, steer?
Yes, I'll steer the ship.
Great. You're doing so well at this.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate your vote of confidence.
No problem. Captain? And he begins to walk downstairs.
She's just shaking her head. Dolan.
Captain?
We might have a situation on hand. I told you that pirate wasn't a secret when he boarded.
Absolutely.
All right. We might have ruffled some feathers. Or scales, however you want to put it.
So those birds were specifically about you?
Potentially us or another group, of which I'm not sure, as I can't fully read this letter, considering its language. But enough to pass out that it's about a stolen ship, about a Corvin, about a conflict, and about Kingdom of Den.
Well, Captain, I can tell you that, from my understanding, the Kingdom of Den and the Serpent Domain, which the script looks like, although I can't read it myself, they recently signed a treaty in order to fight piracy. Barton was not pleased at all, but having been a retired captain, enjoying his leisurely time at Meridian, he chose to ignore sort of the mandates of Den, by which Meridian is so claimed in the waters, though Barton seems to think of himself and the Meridian as an independent, of course. So I imagine the conflict is either a disruption of that treaty, or maybe it is an indication of something else.
Best that we go in prepared to be a little bit more subtle, if you understand what I'm saying.
I do have a different question for you, though, Captain. There's a little bit of a challenge that, as we were talking, and Meridian is now, small on the horizon behind us. We will be passing close to the Dread's perch. I'm a little concerned that it might be frightening for the crew, although I've been sailing these waters for a generation and feel comfortable. Just the mere sight of Dread's perch is often avoided.
She's starting to pinch the bridge of her nose. Do not let Mimir know.
Is there a problem, ma'am?
More like a fascination. The second he hears we're going to go by this, he's going to want to visit it. And explore it. And study it.
Then my suggestion is that we take a little bit longer, go a little bit farther into the Gulf, not so close to the coast. It should get us far enough out of eyesight. It means a full night at sea at this point. But if you're that concerned, ma'am, that would be my counsel.
Quite frankly, Dolan, a little less light on us might help as we get into port.
The Navy has been a nuisance for Barton and his interests, so there have been more smuggling, shall I say, adventures that have been occurring at night lately. So yes.
Fair enough. It'll buy us some time, too, to cook up a story as to why we're out. Perhaps we were trying to avoid some unruly pirates.
I will make the appropriate changes.
Good. Also, see if you can find some coal.
Oh.
Or something I can, let's just say, mute my glowing complexion with.
Aye, ma'am. As you were, or as you leave, and he hands back the control of the wheel back to you.
Uh-huh.
Meanwhile, Mimir, you were going downstairs below deck to...
Yes. Mimir wants to do two things. One, look for sails and something to perhaps color them with if they're not already colored. But also, he is going to quickly, now that the whole crew's upstairs again, retrace the markings on the table and place the jug in the center. And he's going to spend a few minutes casting the ritual Identify on this jug to see what it is, what it does, and how to use it.
Okay. So what are you doing first?
I think he's doing the jug first. Right, because that's far more obvious, so he wants to get that out of the way in case someone comes down.
All right. Well, so as you are beginning to sort of like draw the diagrams, you hear footsteps on the stairway,
I think he continues.
and you hear clop, 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 the sound of hooves as Dolan kind of, angles himself, moving, a little sideways down the stairs, accommodating his antlers. As he kind of comes down and he says, I'm sorry, I don't have a way to greet you formally. How would you prefer to be called?
Mimir.
Mimir.
Yes.
Do we have supplies, stores here? I need to look for something for the captain.
I've taken a pretty good look around here. What are you looking for? Perhaps I can help you.
Something something with a little bit of dirt or grime. Coal, possibly?
Oh, I have, and he rummages in his bag. I have this, and has a piece of coal.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Also, I believe the stores are front of ship. If you were to go around the stairs and head that way. We do have some back here, some boxes we haven't had a chance to go through yet, but I'm hoping that they're sails so we can change the color of our sails, or perhaps, I don't know, something else. There's also food in that area, whatever it's called, and he vaguely motions towards where the food stores are. And that's pretty much it.
Well, okay. If you're looking for something to dye the sails, I would recommend that you look at the tar. There should be some tar along with the supplies for repairing, at sea. That might be of some usage, but...
Can you tar sails? That seems like it's counterproductive.
You can coax the sails through some water that has been dirtied by the tar.
Oh.
And you might get black sails, but I caution, and I would recommend that you speak to the captain about this if that's what she's asked you to do, I assume. Black sails, that usually indicates pirate, and I understand we want to not reveal ourselves for piracy.
I was going for something more of a gold or like a silver, perhaps, or something like a bright blue, like a regal tone.
Unless you have some fruit, some fresh fruit, or something else.
We have a barrel of fresh fruit. Auryn will be so upset. We'll see. I'll see what I can find.
Thank you. And Dolan makes his way and sort of angles himself heading back up, and back topside.
If you need anything down here, you don't have to strain yourself. You can just shout down and ask. The chances are I'll be here. The sun is very hot.
I've been spending more time on ships than I believe you have been alive, Mimir.
That seems true. You are old. Have a great day. I hope you find everything you need.
Thank you.
He continues drawing the markings on the table.
All right. So you are casting Identify?
Yes.
What do you get?
Yep. So you choose an object that you touch through the casting of the spell. If it's a magic item or a magical imbued object, I learn its properties, how to use them, and whether it requires attunement, how many charges it has, and whether any spells are affecting it.
And I'm going to need you to give me an Arcana roll as you're doing this.
Okay, interesting. So I have a +4. 8 + 4, 12.
You get an impression immediately that its magical properties are not what you expect.
Okay.
You know that it pours things out, and it pours various things out. Like, you can see the magical sort of properties of it that do that. You can't seem to see what it is that triggers that.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, are there any identifying properties of this thing? Like, do I know what it is besides a jug of magical nothing because it's empty right now?
Transmutation.
Okay.
But it's not, That doesn't feel quite right, but that's about the closest thing that you can identify about it.
Got it. He's... Okay, with that information armed, he's going to take, like, his water skin or a water skin that's hanging around down here from anyone's stuff that they brought and pour water into the jug. And then pour some out just on the floor.
All right, so as you pour it in, you can hear the sound of it sort of like sploshing at, in the back until, or, in the inside of it until it begins to kind of sort of swish around. And then you hear it. And as you finish, sort of doing that, you can feel that the jug is probably about a quarter full. And as you begin to kind of pour it out, that pours out as well. You get the right amount of liquid as you're just kind of pouring, and then it just kind of, it's done. And then it just kind of sits there and sort of pools on the floor, and slowly just kind of just like gets absorbed by the the wood.
Interesting. Well, I'll deal with that later. And he tucks it back away wherever it was and begins to look for more sails.
The water on the ground gets sort of like this sort of shimmery quality for just a second as you're kind of walking away, and then it flashes, and then it's gone.
Like the water's gone. Interesting. I don't know how that could be useful yet. But so he continues to look for sails and something to color them if they are not already colored, which I would assume they're not.
Give me you've got fresh fruit, so you've got like fruits and berries and stuff.
I know Silence attempted to talk Sionnach out of it. Did we bring a barrel of wine?
No, we didn't get any wine, did we?
No, she arranged, because she said Mimir was going to be a pain in the butt otherwise, so she arranged that there was wine.
Oh, just you wait. Let's go overboard.
In that case, he'll take the white sails. There's so many sails. He takes a small whatever he has, right? So like he'll dump out his water skin and replace it with wine. He'll dump out anything he has that can hold like a large amount of liquids and fill it with the wine. And then through a series of just grumbles and just hatred, he's going to slowly dunk the sails into the jug of wine.
Wait a minute. So you're doing this with which jug?
So no, I'm taking as much wine out of the barrel that we bought. We bought a barrel of wine as possible to keep. And then he's taking the sails and dumping them in the barrel.
All right. I need you to give me some sort of a roll here, because I'm curious as to what actually is going to happen. Let's call it...
if they're white sails, they'll definitely be stained red.
They will. I'm wondering how good that's going to be.
I don't think he cares, right? As long as they're not white sails, because that's the point. Is as long as we look like a different boat. So it doesn't have to be a good boat.
Okay.
Wine, right. If you want red wine, it comes out as more of like a brownish tone when it dries.
A hot pink.
So it'd be like a tan with sort of a darker purplish every so often.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's going to begrudgingly start feeding in sail after sail after sail. First of all, he's sacrificing his wine. Second of all, he's doing manual labor. These are both things that he doesn't want to do. And it's at not even his own request, really. So he's not happy about the entire transaction that's happening right now.
Okay, so for a period of time, you do that, right? And finally, you've got the sails all perfectly, drenched with some amount of wine, splotches, of lighter color versus the darker parts of it. Like you haven't done it so it's consistent across the board, so they will be splotchy or wavy or whatever. If you've ever seen anybody do tie dye, get the color just right and just the right way, right? It's going to look a little varied in intensity and that kind of a thing. So that's basically what happens here, and that's probably going to take you a good hour to do at that point.
A while.
So unless anybody else has to do anything else, I'm going to shift time just a little bit forward. All right. So
hold on. The only thing I want to do is up front. I'm going to say Auryn has put up a little tiny shrine his attempt of a shrine to both Kareth and Altus in where he sleeps. So it's like little things that he thinks that represent them. And so he's taken the pigeon that is exploded, brought it over, set it down, and says like a little prayer for sacrificing its life to prolong our lives, potentially.
Auryn, what are you doing? You're supposed to be working.
I am.
But you're messing with that. What are you doing with that carcass? That poor little thing.
It's dead now, but I just wanted to pray over it.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll let you go back to it. And Milo just kind of scurries off, not even realizing that you hadn't seen him kind of walk up towards you.
Mm-hmm. And after I'm done praying, there's nothing else on the dead pigeon.
No, it's just a bloody carcass with it's got some feathers missing, and also soaked.
I pick it up and I look at it. Altus, I give this offering to the sea and throw it into the ocean.
And you hear a sploosh, and you watch as its position kind of moves. Past as the ship is kind of sort of tacking and moving back, and the water just the kind of takes it, and the carcass just kind of floats below the surface as you continue to look.
Mm-hmm.
Silence. You have been up in the Mimir's nest for the entire time, and you're looking off, sort of at this as Auryn sort of does that, and you are just kind of observing what's going on around you. And so time passes. And for just a second off in the distance towards the west, you see a small sort of, feature of what looks to be an island, sort of dancing on the surface of the water towards the west. First, it's towards the northwest. And as the ship is sort of tacking towards out to sea, into the Gulf, it slowly passes and gets tinier and tinier. And it catches your attention, but you're not sure exactly what it is. You can't see land in any other direction. And so you're a little, confused about what this experience is. But, being silent, I'm assuming you're just sort of taking this all in.
Yeah. Was it kind of like a sandbar?
No, it was sort of like a feature, like a peak that you could sort of see on the horizon in the distance, right? So, but as you're kind of like you're watching it, you begin to hear some gulls like calling in the distance from behind you, and so as you turn and you look towards sort of the northeast, you see what looks to be a flock of gulls sort of like circling and like making a lot of noise, probably a good mile or two off towards the northeast. And as far as there's nothing out here in the ocean otherwise. Like, you can't see any like features of land, and you can't really see what the gulls are sort of hovering around.
Okay. Do you... Trying to figure out whether or not Silence has the knowledge to know that gulls often pack for fish that have been brought to the surface, or to feast on something that is dead, or something that has hunted and is getting its scraps. I don't think he has that knowledge like readily available unless he makes like just a straight up wisdom to try and recall any kind of information about that.
I mean,
I'll take a wisdom roll.
He might know of just carrion birds in general, right?
Right, but if you're not familiar with what gulls are going to do, that's one thing. So go ahead and give us a wisdom roll.
11 plus 1, so 12.
This is unusual. You've observed animals in general, birds in general, and the way that they operate. And based on the normal experiences that you've had, both in traveling along the coast, along Razorback Bay, coming down to the City of the Brother, anytime you are around, that gulls will sort of like flock towards, places where like there's the potential for a feeding, right? And be very loud and sort of obnoxious about it. And so that there's something a little unusual about this particular situation happening where you can't actually see land of any kind or like anything that makes sense that they would be like sort of hovering around.
Silence will shout down, Captain.
Yes, Silence.
And then to like not alert the other crew too much, he will switch the language from Birdfolk into Vulpine and speak in Vulpine to Sionnach and say, to the northeast, there's something there that may require your attention. It could be bad, could be nothing. I just want to let you know. Our gulls are gathering.
How many?
Would you like me to count?
Give me a general estimate, Silence.
Between 20 and 3,000.
Her eyebrows like shoot up underneath her hat at that point, hearing the 3,000.
I'm not good at estimations, Captain.
Obviously not. If it's more than 6, then we should be concerned.
Well, yes, definitely more than that, Captain.
Well, damn it. And she'll let her eyes sort of coast to the direction in which Silence just told her to see for herself.
Yeah, so way off in the distance, you can see gulls sort of flying above the level of the water. And based on the way that the tide is going and the wind is starting to sort of shift a little bit. So you aren't going to have to tack as much. But the way that the gulls are sort of like hovering over this area way off in the distance, and there aren't like deep valleys of like, waves that you're having to navigate as the tide is kind of moving. You can sort of see that there's something that they're interested in just based on the way that they're hovering, but you can't actually see it itself. You know that there's something on the water, and you recognize that there is something off here. Usually this indicates, a dead carcass on the water, some, a school of fish, or in rare cases, something more folk-made that you would need to pay attention to.
Now, Johnny, how audible is this voice of concern that's happening, being shouted from the crow's nest?
I would assume that since he's having to shout from the crow's nest, and then, the Mimir's nest. I'm sorry. Let's call it what it is.
Of course.
That he's calling from the nest. It's probably at least 20 or 30 feet up in the air. I would imagine he's probably having to yell pretty loudly, regardless.
I think after the conversation is done and Sionnach starts to look outside, she'll notice out of the corner of her eye, Mimir has appeared in the top of the door. And he looks to her and says, I heard there was a level of concern.
Get your hearing checked.
Something about gulls.
Do you say this in Vulpine?
No, I say it in Birdfolk.
Okay.
Is something I should be aware of? And he starts to look for these gulls and the level of concern.
Could be, depending on what they're hovering over.
Should we take a look?
Something tells me we're going to need to.
Also, I found sails.
Yes.
And I dyed them red-ish.
How?
My wine.
Your wine?
It was for the
Mimsy.
greater good. It was for the greater good.
Mimsy, darling.
I can't research in Den if everyone's dead.
Oh, you do care.
Only about the research. Don't get your wires crossed.
Yes, but something. You have a heart. It's just,
Very small. Hidden.
Exactly.
There are a lot of feathers.
Yes.
Anyway, about this carcass.
Potential carcass.
We
should check to see. It might be in connection with what it is we're dealing with already.
Or a boat. Oh, yes, that thing too. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Dolan,
Ma'am?
slight change of course, and she'll toss her head in the direction of the birds.
Right away. And Dylan makes a move to start to call, making changes to the tack, the way that the tacking is going. And as as the ship begins to move towards that direction, the wind is beginning to shift so that there's a wind blowing from the west to the east, giving a little bit more sort of like speed out of the sails and a little bit less effort on the crew. As you can see them visibly relax a little bit, as it was exhausting for them to have to tack so hard into the wind that was kind of blowing at them. The time to travel to get closer towards the gulls doesn't take very long, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, but the boats, is moving in a little bit more sort of a rocking fashion as the waves are getting a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And for Silence, you're having to kind of hold on to like the sides of the nest a little bit because you're kind of rocking around, giving you a little sense of motion sickness, but not so bad that you're feeling overwhelmed by it right now. Dolan kind of like looks over and says, Captain, that looks like the capsized hull of a ship out there.
That's exactly what I was hoping it wouldn't be.
That's exactly what I was hoping it would be.
She's just gonna look over to Mimir and just like glare at him, and you almost hear like this slight growl coming from her throat.
And so up in the crow's nest, said it there, I said it, all right? It's called the crow's nest now, all right? So up in the crow's nest, Silence, as you're kind of like gripping onto the sides and you're kind of, righting yourself, you can feel that the waves are kind of, really kind of rocking the boat a little bit more, as the rest of you are having to deal with that as well. But you kind of get your sea legs under you again, and you kind of pull yourself up and you take a look. And from the vantage point of the crow's nest, you were able to see down towards the boat itself. You can see that it's a capsized ship, a little bit bigger than the Fool's Errand, and there appears to be a large sort of like cracked part, almost a piece sort of removed from the bottom of the hull. And just as you're about to make a call down to indicate something, you also see something else moving very slowly with a lot of motion, just sort of moving under the surface as it kind of heads off in the direction towards the west. And it is large, and it is white, and it is just sort of kind of moving, like sort of a serpentine sort of a fashion. And that's where we're going to end it.
Dark Fortunes is an unMadeGaming production and a proud member of the Don't Split the Podcast network. If you would like to learn more about the world of Dark Fortunes and get some behind-the-scenes looks, please join us on Patreon at patreon.com/unMadeGaming. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Thank you for joining us on this high seas adventure, and we'll see you next time on Dark Fortunes.
Are you looking for a great story? Do you love Star Wars? Do you like podcasts?
If you said yes to any of these, check out the Redemption Podcast.
Well, I have less in my head than you do normally, probably.
You haven't met the crew I'm with. Pretty much everywhere we go, our life is in danger.
Things didn't explode. That's pretty sneaky for us.
That sounds horrible.
Yes, please finish up whatever underhanded thing you're doing on the computer terminals at the Jedi Temple.
Check out Redemption Podcast at www.redemptionpodcast.com.